Yo, what's up, people? Right, today I'm going to bring to you guys a build video that I've been meaning to bring to you guys for a while now. This is my status support build. This is a product of basically a debate that I had with a player on a stream for about an hour at 4 AM. We went back and forth for a while over various topics. It got a bit toxic, but in the end, we kind of understood each other because we both come from different situations. I am a PC gamer, he is a console gamer, and console has a slightly larger issue in regards to people pulling out skill builds when they start losing with their guns. It is frowned upon to switch to a skill build after losing a couple of 1v1s because it's like, oh bro, you can't aim your gun, like you put out a skill build. And the thing is, most people don't play skill builds in a reasonable way. A lot of players just camp the bloody checkpoint behind the turrets or in a big fat multi-group of 7-8 players in the comfort of a little piece of cinder block like this, right? Well, this isn't a cinder block, this is a little coffin, but sat behind cover, firing stickies across the map, basically safe from anything because they'll have a rogue police player here, a rogue police player there, one here, one there, and another one there. And you just sit here and you wait, la-di-da-di-da, having a conversation with the wife and the kids, while you every now and then you press duck Q once or twice, depending on if you have instant cast or not. It is frowned upon to play like this, but people play like this. So what do you do when people do choose to play like this? Are you going to sit there, moan and bitch and cry? No, you're going to do something about it. Because you're watching my video, and as one of my people, you are not going to bitch and moan and cry. You're going to deal with it. You're going to shit on people, and then you're going to trash talk them. Because that is part of the game, and that's how you deal with shit. So, this is basically a hybrid offensive and utility build. Utility comes from the jammer, and the ability to throw fire grenades to uproot players from their positions. You get 7 of these when you spawn, and you can throw them quite far. They have quite a large radius and they last for a very long time. And with status effects rolled absolutely everywhere, I'm not entirely sure how long you burn for, but it's over 10 seconds if you have no status effect, no hazard protection. So with a very plentiful supply of fire grenades, you also have a fire holster to add to that. For the times where you get caught out by yourself, even if you're playing with a team, and this is designed to be played with a team, you are still going to get caught every now and then by your ones. And a fire holster is one of those things that's going to come in clutch. As a player starts locking onto you, starts aiming at you, you're going to strafe, you're going to rock that jammer, disable that shield, your fire holster's going to proc, then they're going to be on fire, this guy will be on fire, he won't be able to shoot you, you're going to get around the corner, you're going to go into your menu, you're going to medkit, change to efficient. If you don't know that, I'll elaborate in a little bit. Then you're going to go back to your unbreakable, your teammate should be within 10 meters, they'll be receiving the heal, and if players do push again, players on fire. So this build has a lot of utility. A lot of things that you can do. It's really fun to play, really engaging. There is never a dull moment with this build. Not only are you going to be able to deal with the trash of the Dark Zone in their own way, you're going to basically prevent other players from doing it back to you. See, the effect that a skill power jammer has on a server is profound. There's not a single other thing in the game that I will use in a build that will make other people switch to it. Not even Big Shield Pistol makes people bring out Big Shield Pistol as quick as a jammer brings out other jammers. Because the effect of a jammer is just crazy. So what is the radius? Let's pull out the pistol because that's how you will be using it. You'll be putting it with your card, you get the extra skill tier, putting it at 5 skill tiers for a radius of 32 meters. You are covering an absolute huge expanse of map. Basically everybody, right, is going to get jammed. So the only problem with that is jammer is still a bit buggy. If you are not in combat with the players that you are trying to jam, it may not proc. Even if you are in combat with the players, it still may not jam. But for all the other times where it does jam, it has a crazy effect. All those DPS players with no hazard, with in-sync shields, gone, mate. They lose their in-sync, they lose their shield. They've lost 40+% damage. They ain't going to deal damage unless they have full crit body shot, right? Then if they do have full crit, then you're going to throw a fire nade on them. When they're on fire, they can't crit. When they got no skills, they can't defend. You are forcing players to run away and get back and find a new area to fight from. And when they find a new area, you just throw another fire grenade on top of them. When they do vacate from the fire grenade, you push into your own fire grenade, you set yourself on fire, or you take an incoming bullet or two, get melted. Your unbreakable should surely save you, and when you're minuscule around the corner, you go into your menu, you pop an efficient medkit, your team pushes forward, then you've got your burn sticky or your EMP sticky or whatever it is that you decide to use. You're running forward, yeah, then the one guy that goes back to try and turn and burn, you set him on fire, and you're always doing something. Really effective against full servers, especially up in this safe room. So for that reason, I'm actually going to head up there and quickly show you a bit of game theory. So as we come up this rope, I just want to talk to you about the situation. So I'm in a normalized dark zone right now. It doesn't say invaded, that means normalized. That means there are turrets, and players will camp in these turrets. If you try to door camp them, they're just going to sit there. If you pull back, they often still sit there. I don't know what is wrong with the mentality of players these days, but they don't actually want to fight. After you beam them with a gun a few times, they're going to switch to a skill build, console or PC, and they're going to camp in the fucking turret like a bunch of pussies. I have no respect for this whatsoever. I turn very toxic in game. I turn to levels of toxicity that I cannot expose on stream, because I'll get banned, because I cannot stand it. How can someone get on a game and sit in a fucking turret? I don't know. But what you need to do in this case is you need to get a manhunt, and then you to retreat to the safe room. Here we are at the safe room, and you will find yourself in one of these areas. And if you do find yourself up here fighting, I recommend you don't fight on this side, because yeah, people aren't going to flank you so much from the rope, but you're not going to be able to get away so well. And if someone is down there camping and you do go down the rope, you're going to die. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold this corner here. You don't door camp them too hard, but you go back and you hold this area. You hold it up there, you hold that angle, a guy here, and well, players are going to bunch up in here. So this is a situation where I'll generally speaking pull out a build like this. So with the jammer, you can basically pull out your pistol, right? You can, if the players are not here, you're going to want to push up right into this corner like that and jam everybody all up into the other side. Then when they do turn the corner, they get into there, you burn sticky them. They've hit you with damage, you go around the corner, you tell your teammates to come close, you medkit for them, right? You go into your menu, you're efficient, you get back out, then you throw a fire grenade for the ones that do push up. Then with the once the fire grenade's there, your teammate gets a couple down or two, you push up. If the guy is on the floor in the fire grenade, finish him off with your vindictive. Perfect vindictive comes on the grudge, which you get from Warlords of New York. I'm sure you guys will have one. If you don't, just go and farm SMGs, you'll get it. And you're going to give your team 18% crit chance and crit damage for 20 seconds. And yes, they will be within 20 meters if you're fighting in an area like this. So after you've finished that play, your teammate should be on the corner, by which time switch back to your pistol. You should have your jammer back. You jam the guys over there, they're starting to fight there, never mind. Fire grenade, push up here, take damage, pop another medkit for the team, efficient, get back out, and you're going to push forward, and you're going to push up to here again, by which point they may be beaming you this angle, they may not. Push into your own fire grenade, do it again, pop your efficient medkit, back to unbreakable. It's probably procced by now, your teammates should be having a great time, you've got another burn sticky, good and yeah, there's so much that you can do with this build, there is never a dull moment. You can deal with pretty much any server, fire spam, they're not going to have hazard. Mortars players, generally speaking, do not have hazard. My friend has hazard, but he's a skill build genius. And he taught me that hazard is very valuable, but he didn't need to because I figured it out myself. Because when you pull out skill power jammers, other players bring them out against you. And that causes you a huge problem. And if you haven't got, 50, 60 hazard at the bare minimum, you're going to get jammed for 4 or 5 seconds yourself. And if you are jammed, well, then you've got to rely on your medkits and your fire grenades, which is absolutely fine. But why limit yourself? Why lose half of your build? You can't be having that. So yeah, while the cooldowns with the pistol are not amazing at 16.7, and with the burn sticky at 18.6, it doesn't matter. You have enough other things to do that you, generally speaking, get these back when at about the right time. If you do want faster cooldowns, you can sacrifice the fire holster for an improvised. You can sacrifice a little bit of hazard protection for a bit more skill haste. And if I put on a skill haste mod, 11.2, so you see the cooldown does go down to a little more respectable 16.5, but I now have 70 has pro and not 80. You are going to have to test and find the balance, the sweet spot yourself. But yeah, and basically with this build, you're speccing for 3 main attributes. Number 1, status effects. Number 2, hazard protection. Number 3, skill haste, because if you have no skill haste, you don't get your skills back quick enough. You just don't. 2 blues and unbreakable, you are fairly tanky enough to withstand a burst of damage. And with creeping death and burn sticky, you can set a whole team on fire. Sometimes burn sticky, depending on the server, gets bugged a lot. Some player models or players who are wielding shields, your sticky is going to disappear like this. If you fire your sticky up in the air, it disappears and you get it back in 5 seconds. Often when you fire it on a player, the exact same thing happens and it bugs. This is a huge issue. So when that is happening, I recommend to trade the burn sticky for the fire chem. You could use a foam, but that's a little bit too toxic for my liking. Just stick to fire. Although, you know, because you already have, you know, let's say you do have the fire holster equipped and you fire grenades, having too many sources of fire, well, they're gonna, you know, conflict with each other. So perhaps you would want to go with something like foam, but you could actually use shock trap. Yes, shock trap is pretty good, especially in an area like this. What's the duration on it? 3.6. It's not very long, but if you're fighting a full server and they're just constantly rushing at you in huge numbers, a shock trap is, you know, just there like that. It's going to shock players. You know, it's going to get them here, it's going to get them there. They're going to have to pull out their own jammer, and yes, they will pull out their jammer, in which case you probably don't want to run a shock trap. But you're starting to get the hang of things now with the playstyle of the build. Fire grenade them, go into your own fire. Alright, make sure you got a guy with DPS here covering you. Put yourself on fire, medkit, swap, go back. Yeah, still got 4 medkits. Yeah, so because you are speccing into only 3 attributes, you are going to go with 1 piece Golan, 1 piece Jarl, and, well, and 1 skill haste. Hana U is actually inferior to a mod, which is why I'm running improvised. If basically improvised gave you an additional mod slot on the backpack, I would basically run everything skill haste and 1 Jarl. I would probably ditch the Golan for the skill haste, because getting it back sooner can sometimes be more important. You see, when you're fighting against mortar players who have a cooldown of 8.5, 10, 12 seconds, they're going to get their second mortar back before you get your pulse back. And that's going to be a moment where you're going to have to dodge a mortar, and that could be a problem. So make sure that you are aware of the enemy skill. Definitely inspect your enemy, see what they're using. I can't inspect him, but make sure that you know what you are fighting and counter it. Don't worry about switching your skills. This is called the skill swapper for a reason. Alright? If players are bunching up, you know, you can put a hive on, although you won't have the initial damage. You will have a very long bleed duration of 12 seconds right here. You could even put, right, the air burst, although not the most reliable thing, although 1 every 15 seconds is not too bad, considering the burn duration is 20 seconds. Ridiculous time. But it's very hard to hit, and yeah, I wouldn't really recommend it in most situations. Firefly, no point, nothing inflict status. Yeah, it pretty much just comes down to jammer, shock trap, burn sticky bomb, EMP sticky bomb. You can run EMP as well. EMP sticky bomb with creeping death is incredible. So for times where you're not dealing with hives or mortars, but you still want to run this build, you can trade your jammer out for a fire starter, and then rock EMP sticky and fire starter. That way you have 6 fire starters. You just keep spamming it, you know, and either share a fire starter with creeping death among a whole team, or with an EMP sticky. And when you do get an EMP sticky, especially if you have perpetuation active, even though it states 50% duration, it is additive duration, so it actually equates to about a 2 to 4 second increase in the status effect, of which this EMP with this build is about 14.5 seconds. So you're going to about 17-18 second jam with the EMP sticky, and with the huge radius. To show you, yeah, anyone walking out of that door who takes a step this way, anyone shooting from here, they're gonna get, you know, stickied. And anybody 8 meters on, that's 6 meters. So even players standing here are gonna get jammed as long as your creeping death is active. So, and I know that I'm talking about this area a lot, but this safe room is a place where people often fight, and this build is perfect. You're not going to get flanked very much. There's no long sight lines to worry about, and if players do come from behind, no worries. Make sure you have the jammer active, because you're going to jam them way before they get up the stairs here. Alright? Don't worry about it. So, now that I've explained to you guys how this build works, what pieces you want, definitely get high hazard protection. Between 80, 70, 60 should be okay. I wouldn't drop below 50. Below 50, the moment somebody else starts bringing out a jammer against you, you're going to be crippled, and you can't afford to be crippled by your own build. So, onto the weapons, because the weapons aren't so influential. I mean, you got to go with the capacitor. Yes, you can go with a Scorpio. Scorpio is definitely a good option. You do have additional status effects. It's going to proc your creeping death before you really need to. If you can get the end snare to proc with creeping death, if you can time that shit, that's incredible, because you're going to phone people for like 6-7 seconds, potentially a whole team, although it's very rare that you'll ever get the 7th shot to line up with. What you could do is have a teammate run a shotgun, and let's say they have a big tank guy with a shield pushing up. Get your teammate to shoot him 6 times, and then just you whip out the Scorpio and then shoot him 1 time, and you'll be spreading foam to everybody and then giving your team easy kills. Yes, I know foam is cheesy, but it's part of the game. People gotta run hazard protection. Alright? Run hazard protection. That's what you gotta do. And with Survivalist, extra 10% amplified damage to status effect targets that you provide your team. Yeah, you basically have a constant damage increase for your team. Not only do you negate enemy player shields if you have a jammer out, right? Stop them from shooting with a burn sticky, or with a fire grenade, or the fire holster, right? Copy medkits for your team. Guys, please, make this build. Bring it out against people. If you look at Inspector a whole server and they all have crit chance, crit damage, 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 fuck them. They want to go and cheese crit damage, abuse crit damage, body shot damage, insta melt body shot damage. It takes no skill. Use status. Right? Just use it. Don't feel shame. Use it. And if they cry and they don't adapt, fuck them. Alright? You are using something that you are impervious to yourself. Status will not get you. Crit damage will. Make sure your teammates cover you. Make sure you beam players when they're on fire. Make sure you get your vindictive procs. Tell your teammates off every time they finish a player who's sitting in your fire grenade, for that is damage that they are losing out on. It is self-interest for your team to leave you the kills for vindictive. Don't forget to always proc your skills with your pistol. The ones that actually work with a pistol, which is basically most of them apart from, well, these two work just fine. The chem doesn't. The moment you pull out the chem, it puts your pistol away, you lose your skill tier. And without that, I think we are done here. I think you guys, at this point, understand the build. There's no gameplay for this video, I do apologize. I wanted to really explain the point of this build, the playstyle, and, well, in-game examples with a very popular area that people fight in, to show you how to use this build. If you want to see this build in action, I do have a gameplay coming that I teased in a previous video, and I will be streaming live on Twitch. The link will be down in the description. Click on that, follow me. I'm going to be streaming a hell of a lot more, especially since my RAM upgrade. So now I have basically 150, 60 FPS all the time, with a few dips into the 120s, maybe 110 if it's really bad, usually around this area. This area is the worst FPS in the game. Something to do with this building and that 3-story landmark. Yeah, anyway, you don't need to worry about that. Point is, I'm going to be streaming way more now, so drop by, watch me live. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy this build. It is incredibly fun, and it's something different from the typical and boring crit damage with Adrenaline Rush and Intimidate. But shit, does that get stale. In a bit, people. In a bit. Have a wonderful day.